Yeah, you could look at it as an inference question. It's called a meaning question. You're trying to figure out, hey, what does this phrase mean? It's not as common, but on line 14, it says that the simulated trial situations have suggested that the technique, stealing thunder, is in fact effective, at least within reasonably broad range of applications. Okay, so if it's effective, then what does that mean it's doing? If stealing thunder is effective, yes.
It's kind of suppressing the level of persuasion that the opposition will have on the jury.
That's right.
With whatever particular.
It's weakening the impact of that negative information on the jury, right? And that's answer choice A. Inclines juries to regard the clients of those using the tech more favorably. They talked about this, like credibility, right? Then would be the case if the negative information about them were first divulged by the opposition. It works. Okay. What answers are we debating?
B.
B. Is a reliable means, okay, in courtroom settings, okay, of introducing a set of counter arguments. That's like that's the same, Michelle, that's the same challenge you had with, I think, D in 10, right? Mistaken reasoning. It's not about the reasoning, it's about facts. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you, and the last part of B talks about persuasion. I'm not talking about persuasion, I'm talking about facts. Other answers that we're attempting here.
E.
E. More often than not, achieves its goal of timing a negative revelation. I didn't like this specific mention of timing. I think it was just saying that it works.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how often it gets in right at the right time.
Okay. I guess when I was reading it, the only reason that's because I was between A and E, but for me, when I was looking at that one, it was just like the way he phrased it about having the upper hand when you present the information before the opposition does, or before the other side does.
Okay, so the question says the author most likely means that those studies have given evidence that the technique in question works. Right, that would be like the shortest answer. That'd be awesome, actually. Answer choice A, works. But I think answer choice E is almost like an inference.
Okay.
Like you're saying, oh, well, if it works, then it must be timed right in most cases.
Gotcha.
Right? But it's not necessarily what that phrase was meant to mean, specifically about the timing.
Yeah.
Just in general, it works. It's almost like too narrow.
C.
C. Oh, I love C. You can get angry. You can get angry at C almost right away. Why?
Invariably.
Invariably, which means always. The thing about invariably is that it's a word we don't use as often, and so it doesn't stick out to us like the word always, right? If this had started out always results, you might be much more suspicious of it. But I think that there is a boardroom of LSAT test writers who usually have cigars, and they are reviewing questions, and they go, you used always. Why didn't you use invariably, my young lad? And they, oh yeah, and they change it to invariably, and then it becomes a harder answer choice because it just doesn't jump out to us as severe of a problem, right? So why does invariably make this problematic? Invariably results in cases being decided in favor of the clients of those using the technique. Do people who use this technique always win?
I just feel like that's the goal
That's the goal.
of the trial.
That's the goal of
to
everyone.
win, right?
Those who use it and those who
So,
don't.
If you use a technique and it works, then you won the trial, but that's not in fact what.
Well, wait, no. If you use the technique and it increases your client's credibility and increases your likelihood of winning, then the technique has worked.
Right.
I don't know that we should go so far, though, as to say that unless you win, it hasn't worked. Okay. The question, though, too, is you have to ask yourself, did the author mean that when the author says the technique is in fact effective, the author means that they always win?
No, I didn't choose it in the end. I chose A, but I left it open. But yeah, it was going too far.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions on this one? Alrighty.